Before we go deep into the causes of greenhouse effects, it is important for us to know what is a greenhouse effect. You must have heard of greenhouse effects during any debate of global warming. The light that we get from the sun helps to keep this planet warm. Of the 100% light that sun sends to Earth, almost 30% sunlight is reflected back into the space by cloud, ice, snow, sands, and other reflective surface. According to NASA, only about 70% of the sunlight is absorbed by the oceans, the land, and the atmosphere. The sunlight that falls on the Earth's surface is used for different purposes. It can be used to produce solar energy, drying clothes, or by plants in the process of photosynthesis. The Earth's surface warms up during the day and cools down at night, releasing the heat in the forms of infrared radiation IR out of the atmosphere into space. But before all these infrared radiations can escape out of the atmosphere into the space, they are absorbed by greenhouse gases GHG present in the atmosphere. The absorptions of these radiations by greenhouse gases make it possible to keep this planet warm for humans. Without greenhouse effects, the temperature for this planet will be less by 30 degrees Celsius, and this will be too cold for us to survive. According to Gina McCarthy, greenhouse gas pollution, through its contributions to global climate change, presents a significant threat to health and to the environments upon which our economy and security depends. The major greenhouse gases GHG solely responsible for greenhouse effects are carbon dioxide, ozone, methane, and water vapor. Although these gases comprise 1% of our atmosphere, they act like a thick warm blanket outside that surrounds this planet and regulates climate controls. Greenhouse effect is not bad. In fact, it is needed for all of us to survive on planet Earth. In short, the greenhouse effect is nothing but a natural occurring process designed by nature that aids in heating Earth's surface and helps to maintain ecological balance. Now, while some of that heat dissipates into space, some of it burns along the atmosphere. And some of it penetrates the atmosphere and finds its way into the lower atmosphere and the planet's surface. This in turn raises the average temperature of the Earth. Therefore, the increase in the Earth's surface temperature due to increase in the number of greenhouse gases leads to global warming. Today, I am Muhammad Aikan Azmi bin Rosli, matrix number 08DPB21F2028, and my group members Muhammad Arif bin Redzun, matrix number 08DPB21F2018, and lastly Muhammad Daniel Shami bin Othman, matrix number 08DPB21F2020. Today we will present the topic causes of greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is a process that occurs when gases in Earth's atmosphere traps the sun's heat. This process makes Earth much warmer than it would be without an atmosphere. The greenhouse effect is one of the things that makes Earth a comfortable place to live. At the end of presentations, the audience will, first, planting the trees or adding green areas or greening the earth. Second is conduct environmental education campaign. Third is carry out the process of recycling waste or used material. And lastly, number 4, impose fines or enforce the law on those who pollute the environment.
Thanks to Haikal Najimi, and my name is Muhammad Arif bin Redzun. So the next one is, what is causes of the greenhouse effect? So number 1 is burning fossil and fuel. Number 2 is deforestation. Number 3 is increased populations. Number 4 is industrial waste and landfill. So number 5 is farming. And number 6 is pollutants. So guys, my first point is burning of fossil and fuel. Fossil fuels like coal, oil and natural gas has become an integral part of our life. They are used on large basis to produce electricity and for transportation. When they are burned, the carbon stored inside them is released, which combines with oxygen in the air to create carbon dioxide, which the increase in the population. The number of vehicles has also increased, and this has resulted in increase in the pollution in the atmosphere. When these vehicles run, they release carbon dioxide, which is one the main gas responsible for increase in greenhouse effect. So we use this energy to generate electricity and the power transportation, for example car and planes and industrial processes. Ever since the invention of the first coal-fired steam engines of the 1700, our burning of fossil fuel has steadily increased across the globe. Each year, we now burn over 4,000 times the amount of fossil fuels burned during 1776. The effect of the burning of fossil fuel, especially carbon dioxide, are having far-reaching effect on our climate and ecosystem. Fossil fuel form over millions of years from the burial of photosynthetic organisms, including plants on land, which primarily from coal, and plankton in the ocean, which primarily from oil and natural gas. To grow, these organisms remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and the ocean. Their burial inhibited the movement of that carbon through the carbon cycle. The burning of this fossil material returns this carbon back into atmosphere as carbon dioxide, and at a rate that is 100 to 1,000 of times faster than it took to bury, and much faster than can be removed by the carbon cycle. Thus, the carbon dioxide released from the burning of fossil fuel accumulates in the atmosphere, some of which then dissolve in the ocean, causing ocean acidification. So guys, my second point is deforestation. So what is deforestation? Deforestation is clearing, destroying, and otherwise removal of trees through deliberate, natural, or accidental means. It can occur in any area densely populated by trees and other plant life, but the majority of it is currently happening in the Amazon rainforest. The loss of trees and other vegetation can cause climate change, desertification, soil erosion, fewer crops, flooding, increased greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and a host of problems for indigenous people. Deforestation occurs for a number of reasons, including farming, which 80% deforestation resulting from intensive cattle ranching and logging for material and development. It has been happening for 1,000 years, arguably since men began converting from hunter or gatherer to agriculture-based societies, and required larger unobstructed tract of land to accommodate cattle, crop, and housing. It was only after the onset the modern era that it became a pandemic. Forests hold a major green area on the planet Earth. Plants and trees intake carbon dioxide and release oxygen through the process of photosynthesis, which is required by humans and animals to survive. Large-scale development has resulted in cutting down of trees and forests, which has forced people to look for alternate places for living. When the woods is burned, the stored carbon is converted back into carbon dioxide. And in addition to the loss of habitat, the lack of trees also allows a greater amount of greenhouse gases to be released into the atmosphere. Healthy forests absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, acting as valuable carbon sinks. Deforested area lost that ability and release more carbon.
Increase in populations. Over the last few decades, there have been a huge increase in the populations. Now, this has resulted in increases demands for food, clothes, and shelter. New manufacturing hubs have come up cities and towns that release harmful gases into the atmosphere, which increase the greenhouse effect. Also, more people means more usage of fossil fuels, which in turn has aggravated the problems. Number 4 is farming. Nitrous oxide is one of the greenhouse gases that is used in fertilizer and contributes to greenhouse effect, which in turn leads to global warming.
Industrial waste and landfills. First, coal mining activities. Second, oil extraction harmful greenhouse gas. Third, garbage produce carbon dioxide. Fifth, now the sustainable development has become concept safety critical to the well-being of the environment and society. Despite the expectations of economic growth through some anthropogenic activities include mining. Mining is agreeable and sustainable to nature around if there is land clearing, production and use of non-renewable resource, which leads to negative effect on the socio-economic. Sustainable development should take into account aspects social, economic and environmental and should not be focused on financial aspect only. Second, greenhouse gas atmospheric gas absorb and emit radiation in the infrared heat range. This process is a major cause of the greenhouse effect. Among the major greenhouse gas found in the Earth atmosphere are water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. Without greenhouse gas, the average surface temperature of the Earth could be probably reach about 18 Celsius compared to the current average temperature 15 Celsius. In the solar system, the atmosphere is a Venus, Mars, and Titan also contain gas the cause of the greenhouse effect. Human activity since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution has increased atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide by 40% from 280 ppm in 1750 to 406 ppm in early 2017. The increase has occurred even though most of these emissions are absorbed by natural storage evolved in the carbon cycle. Anthropogenic carbon dioxide, or short form in CO2 emissions, come from the burning of fossil fuel, especially coal, oil and natural gas, along with deforestation, soil erosion and animal husbandry activities. Detailed estimate anticipate that if greenhouse gas emission continue at a constant rate, Earth's surface temperature could exceed produce high value in record history in early 2047, with potentially endangering ecosystem, biodiversity and lifestyle wide. Recent estimates suggest the current emission trajectory could bring the Earth past the 2 Celsius global warming threshold set by United Nations in Governmental Panel on Climate Change as a limit avoid dangerous global warming before 2036. Third, food loss, or we call garbage produce carbon dioxide. Food loss and waste in estimate to be around 1/3 of the food intended for human consumption. When the food is discarded, all input used in the producing, processing, transporting, preparing, and storing discarded food are also waste. Food loss and waste also exacerbates the climate change crisis with the significant greenhouse gas. Production, transportation, and landing of food generate significant carbon dioxide or CO2 emission, and when food ends up in landfill, it generate methane and even more potent greenhouse gas. The connection between food loss and waste and climate change is recognized as important, and so that link between climate change, the equilibrium, and supply chain resiliency, we are increasingly seeing how extreme weather even the disruptive to both agriculture and supply chain resiliency. So I want to tell you, next slide is a pollutant. Pollutant got two examples. First, carbon monoxide gas from motor vehicle exhaust. Second, sulfur dioxide emitted from factories. What is a pollutant? Air pollutants are substances in the air that can absolutely affect human and ecosystem. The material can be solid, particle, liquid, developed, or gas. Pollutant can be natural or man-made. Contaminants are classified as a primary or secondary. Major pollutants are usually produced from processes such as ash from volcanic eruption. Other examples include carbon monoxide gas from motor vehicle exhaust or sulfur dioxide emitted from factories. Secondary contaminants are not released directly. Instead, it forms in the air when major pollutants react or interact. Surface ozone level are example of a prominent secondary pollutant. Some pollutant may be both primary and secondary, both released directly or and from other primary pollutant. Major pollutant produced by human activities include methane gas. This gas released by garbage disposal. This gas can trap heat in the atmosphere such as carbon dioxide, and this increase the earth temperature. Sulfur dioxide is a chemical compound with the formula SO2. SO2 is produced by volcanoes and in various industry process. Coal in the petroleum often contain sulfur compound, and the combustion produce sulfur dioxide. Further, in the oxidation of SO2, usually in the presence of a catalyst such as NO2 from H2S04, and thus acid rain. This is one of the case for concern about the environmental impact of the use of this fuel as a power source. Nitrogen oxide, or in science NOx, nitrogen oxide, especially nitrogen dioxide, are produced as a result of combustion and high temperature, and are also produced during thunderstorms through electrical discharge. It can be seen a stronghold of war haze above a cloud carried by the wind from the cities. Nitrogen dioxide is a chemical compound with the formula NO2. It is one of the few outside of nitrogen. It is one of the most prominent air pollutant. This gas has a toxic release. So, conclusion. The greenhouse effect is a natural process when the atmosphere traps some of the sun energy, warming the earth enough to support life. Although the greenhouse effect is a nature circle, humans have greatly increased the concentration of greenhouse gas, thus causing significant increase the overall greenhouse effect. A number of gas and evolve in the human case encashment of the greenhouse effect.